How's it, everybody? Trinidad here with Real to Kill. We're gonna do a quick tutorial video on some lead, how to get your day started, things you may need to get this lead poured and to get it done safely. Today we are gonna go over some of our safety equipment, very necessary. Whether you're pouring outside or inside, ventilated, non-ventilated, really doesn't matter. Just put your safety equipment on, guys. I mean, can't help it. Safety first. Wear your shoes in the house. So today here we got our respirator mask, some goggles. Obviously we need some gloves. Those are some of our main safety equipment, or more or less all of our safety equipment, besides a fire extinguisher nearby. So we are going to get some lead going today in our Lee's Pot 420 Pro. It's a great lead machine. This vessel holds probably about, I do probably about 10 pounds at a time. It seems to do enough for me. Once it gets down to maybe about a pound or so, I go ahead and introduce some new lead and let that reheat up. Next, besides having a vessel for your lead, you are going to need lead. Let's get into that. This lead here, in my opinion, not so clean lead. Does the same trick, just a lot of impurities come up to the top, meaning I have to skim a lot more extra out of this 1.5 pound or 1 pound ingot. I'll probably skim out maybe about three ounces of impurities. Could that have been 3 ounces extra of lead? That's a whole extra jig. Yes, I get it. So optional at that point in time. Use pricing wisely, find your guys' resources, get it going. This to me is clean lead. Yes, it's already formulated. This particular one is formulated as a 1 pound weight. It's nice and clean. There's no like build up dirt, corrosion on it. So these are some leftover pieces from some of the jigs that we pour. I like to either introduce this to our pot first and foremost while it's nice and hot, let that melt down, and then I can introduce something else just to kind of build up more lead in our pot. If you put all of your lead inside of here and inside your pot and you go ahead and melt it down, and then you go to introduce something else, this is cold. You don't want to just introduce it by just dropping this bad buddy in there. It doesn't work like that. Multiple reasons. You'll get some splashback. It's cold. It's going to lower a little bit of the temperature of the actual lead. Yes, you're still going to let it sit, but we don't want to do that. Second is inside of these eyes, sometimes you'll get some residue, whether it's oil from being made or just a little bit of water that's in there. So it will tend to pop and more or less explode. You have literally a lava volcano of some lead. Not good. Very dangerous. All right, last but not least, you are going to need your mold. No matter what mold it is, what I like to do throughout the time frame while my lead is melting, I like to place my mold on top of our lease pot. This way it's continuously getting a heat source to it. It'll heat up the inside for me, which will allow me to get less discrepancies in my pores. Most of the time I'll smoke my leads, I'll smoke my molds. I'll get a candle, turn it upside down. I'll smoke all of the cavities where the lead is going to be introduced. And this way it just helps to release it from our mold a little bit easier. Just tricks of the trade. I would definitely recommend to make sure that your mold is piping hot. Very important. And therefore you need gloves for a piping hot mold. Once this mold is nice and hot, our lead is melted down, I will start to introduce lead to my mold like so. And while it sits in there, I will bring it right back to this resting place where it can continuously generate heat from our lead pot. And then I'll just take out whatever lead I poured inside of here, place it back inside of the mold, and do it again, maybe about 2 times, just to make sure once again the mold is nice and hot. Other than that, let's get started. Let's see what we got going on today. I will be back and get this all plugged in, get some lead inside of this apparatus. Be back. Alright guys, hopefully you can hear me. Got some of this lead melted down. Once again, our mold is preheating up top. I am going to do a quick skim and show you what I was talking about in regards to putting in dirty lead and having impurities and having a skim. Let's get this out the way. See all this impurity up top here. It actually ain't that bad for like 3 pounds of lead I put inside. This right here, not that because you dropped it. But all this stuff like this will fill up your pouring spout at the bottom of your lease pot or your melting pot. So you definitely want to get out that impurity out of there. Alright, we'll continue to let this melt. We'll introduce some more lead. I am going to continue to let my mold preheat. And actually, let's do it while we're here. Alright. So, let's go ahead and use some of this already pre-melted lead. I'm going to pour a little bit in here at a time. If I was going to introduce something like this weight here into this being so cold, I would use some kind of instrument to hold the lead. Let's just say I'm holding it like this. I will introduce it slowly like this. Just kind of wiggle it on in there. You can see it melts down. But if I just drop the whole thing in there, who knows if there's oil or grease inside of this this brass eye, and if there is, that will definitely start to pop and make all kinds of sizzling noises. It's very dangerous. Gonna get a little bit more of this lead introduced here. I think that should be sufficient for what we're gonna do today. All right, we'll let that melt down. We'll skim it again. Continue to let our mold absorb this heat. And today we will be pouring some weighted hooks. So we got out our hooks today. We'll go ahead and introduce those once the lead is nice and hot and we turn the temperature down and our mold is nice and hot, we'll go ahead and start pouring. So stay tuned, be back. All right guys, we back. We're gonna get into some of this pouring. It's been some time. The temperature of my mold is nice and hot. The lead is nice and hot. Let's get pouring. I'm gonna put this mask on and get some of these hooks ready to go. All right, so my mold is nice and hot here. I am going to just do a couple presses up on this lever just to make sure that the lead is actually coming out of the spout nice and with a nice flow. So today we are going to be using these 8/0 must-have ultra point hooks. We are going to go ahead and probably let's make some 7/16 today solely. Okay, so let's get this just in our mold. That up. Perfect. It's got a nice flow to it. Fills up within seconds. That's how you'll pretty much get a gauge per mold on how long it should take to fill up. Once you start noticing you have discrepancies, but once again, there's many ways to get rid of those discrepancies. First and foremost, like I said, hot lead, top mold, and I tend to put some hooks here just because I find it kind of warms up my shanks a little bit onto our hooks, and it allows everything to be at a certain temperature, at least be warm enough when I introduce lead to it that there's no discrepancies. So let's see what our first hook looks like. Beautiful. No discrepancies. Perfect pair up. This little gadget here, we'll take this off. This will end up being like the rest of our little overpours, and we'll just take this off and simply just wiggle it off. Put it right back in your lead. Hang your hook. Later on, we will end up more or less filing down some of this area here. It does get a little rough, so we'll file it down. Just little things that we do to make sure that, you know, our customers are going to be happy. So let's just keep them going here. Beautiful. Just keep walking. We are also in the making some of these weighted hooks with some underspins on it. I'm just adding a little wire gauges to this, little leaders of some wire. Still prototyping everything, so stay tuned for that. We'll get into some of that on another video. Meanwhile, we'll just keep them coming with these weighted hooks. Add these to a nice big swim bait. Attach it to your screw lock. Send it, man. Get bit. Hopefully in the background you guys can hear my Fortunate Youth Reggae Roots jams. Gotta love it. Local South Bay dude. Good music. Ventilation. Hot lead, hot mold. Shoot. So you see it doesn't take long for the lead to form. Within seconds to knock these out all day long. There's just a lot of other little work that comes along with it. So I try to pace myself and get down a certain amount. I'll knock out this box in probably like 10 minutes or something. This box of 50 count of some hooks. And then I'll start taking off all the excess lead, filing them down, and then we can bag and tag them. Put some screw locks on them. Good to go. Let's use one of these warm ones. It's sitting there for a minute. Sometimes you'll have to end up turning this little knob down here. What this does is either it releases this up and makes it to where the lead won't fall out, or vice versa, you go the opposite way and it'll help with a better flow of the lead. As you can see, I'm getting a lot of little drip here and there. Doesn't bother me, but ultimately what ends up happening is if you don't pay attention to this and it starts just keep dripping into the same pile of lead that's already in there, it starts to splat every time. So on a lot of my clothes, I have a lot of little pieces of lead on my pants and, you know, good shirts and stuff like that. So don't do it, man. Just turn it down. Simply just turn it down. All right, guys, we're gonna knock out some more of these. We'll be back. I'll show you this little bit of an end run on what we did today. We'll also get into more or less other jigs. We'll start pouring some other jigs and painting them as well. If you like this video, if you found it helpful, hit that like button, subscribe. Hopefully this was informative. We'll keep it coming, and thanks for watching. All right, guys, final outcome of what we got done within the last 15-20 minutes. I went ahead and poured some 7/16s with some 8s, some 3/8s with some 7s, and some 5/16s with some 7s. It's a quick scenario. Anybody can do it. Safety first, once again. Hopefully you found this video informative. This is our first YouTube video, so please hit that like button down below. Subscribe. We'll keep these videos coming. I think the next video we'll do is maybe we're going to pour some egg sliders. Got my next mold ready to go, warming up. Maybe we'll go ahead and start pouring some egg sliders on the next video and paint them as well. I'll show you guys how to do all that. So once again, thank you for tuning in to our channel here at Road to Kill. These products can be found at LA Fishing Alliance tackle shop here in San Pedro, LAFishingAlliance.com. 22nd Street Landing .com right here also as well in San Pedro, and Redondo Beach sportsfishing.com in Redondo Beach right on the pier. You guys don't be hesitant, go out there, support your local businesses, come on out, take a boat trip, buy some lead, jump on these boats, wreck fish, and tag us in some pictures. Appreciate you guys. Alright guys, final product here. Got all my weights separated here, ready to go. What I'm doing now is putting on the hitching posts. That's it. Final outcome.